Astrology is older than what most people realise. It did not begin as entertainment. It certainly didn't begin as personality quizzes of social media. And it definitely didn't begin as something that people thought were fake because they don't know the difference between spirituality and science. Astrology began as one of humans' first attempts to understand reality itself. You would not have generational labels if it wasn't for astrology. There'd be other things that we will not mention in this video that you would not have if it wasn't for astrology. Astrology was implemented deeply in pagan culture, which are the same cultures that also help shape science and also help shape meteorology, which is the weather stuff, how we know it today. So to answer this simple question, are we random or is there a pattern to everything? Well, according to our website there is, which we'll put in the link below. Now we're going to start with ancient beginners when they built this curiosity. To find the answer, we go back 4,000 years to Mesopotamia. This is where astrology as we know it was born. The Babylonians looked out at the night sky and saw something most people missed. Not chaos, but order. They tracked the movements of planets with incredible precision and also helped shape modern astronomy when they shaped the mathematical position as we know it today. They recorded eclipses, alignments and cycles, and over time they noticed something strange. Events in the sky seem to mirror events here on Earth. Kings rising, empires falling, and natural disasters. It was as if the heavens were a script to life, and life on Earth was playing it out. Astrology at this point wasn't just mystical fluff or something that woo-woo, as some people may see it today. It was literal science. It was data, it was observation, it was predictive, and as I said before, it was also science. Expansion into Egypt and Greece. As knowledge spread, astrology moved into ancient Egypt where it blended with spirituality, connecting the stars to the soul and the afterlife. Then it reached ancient Greece, and this is where astrology evolved into something bigger and something deeper, and where personality astrology as we know it today was also born. Greek philosophers didn't just observe the sky, they asked why it worked. Thinkers like Ptolemy simplifies astrology into a structural model of the cosmos, the zodiac, the houses, planetary meaning, and further mathematical divisions of the sky, based on the seasons. Much of what is used today came directly from this era. At this point, astrology wasn't separate from science, it was science. Then came early Christianity. Now here's something most people are never told. Early Christianity didn't completely reject astrology. In fact, one of its most famous stories is deeply astrological. The journey of the biblical Magi. They were not travelers, they were scholars, likely astrologers, who followed a star across the sky to locate the birth of Jesus. And here's the key detail, they weren't condemned for this, they were honoured. The early church literally sainted the Magi. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If astrology was truly demonic and truly evil and truly of the devil, as Christians say, why would one of Christianity's most symbolic stories rely on it? Even influential figures such as St. Augustine didn't instantly dismiss astrology. They engaged with it seriously because at the time it was still respected knowledge, the turning point. But as Christianity grew in power, something began to change. Astrology presented a problem, because astrology suggested radical and thinking for yourself and pretty much a system that helped you understand other people and things like that, and the natural world. That the universe followed patterns, a pattern that anyone could study. And if people could interpret these patterns themselves, then access to the divine truth, then that would mean that they have full control of themselves. So that's where the attention began. By the time we reached the Middle Ages, the narrative started to shift. Slowly at first, astrology begins to be reframed, not as insight but as risk, not as knowledge but as pseudoscience that you should not study, but not as temptation but of the devil. During periods like the medieval times, anything outside of official doctrine would be questioned, suppressed or punished. And astrology unfortunately fell into that grey area. But here's the truth, it was never fully erased. Kings still could have consulted astrologers, elites still used it behind closed doors. But for the public, it became associated with superstition, with deception, even with apparent dark forces. This wasn't just about belief, it was about controlling you from the truth of yourself. Because if people believe that meaning came from the stars, then authority doesn't just come from institutions, it comes from observation, from interpretation from within. And that's a dangerous idea to the church. For any system built on centralized power, it's a very strong risk to them. Fast forward today, astrology is still everywhere again. Some of Christianity may still try to demonize it, but it has not fully worked. But now it's often reduced to mean, stereotype and surface level traits. Stripped of its depth, disconnected from its origin, and still cruelly dismissed. But when you look at its history, astrology isn't just a trend, it's one of the oldest systems ever created to understand existence itself. And other things were also built on. You have meteorology, which came from the same pagan cultures. You have generational labels such as Gen Z, millennial, which is built on the astrological ID, even if it's a separate study. But you can also know your actual generation by your Pluto sign. But that's a story for another video. So the real question is, why something so ancient, so race-based, and once so respected can be demonized by the church, especially when the Magi were literally astrologers themselves. From sacred science to forbidden knowledge to modern curiosity, astrology never disappeared, and it never will. But this is the story how you can definitely be Christian and still practice astrology.